Hey there, YouTubers. It's Mr. Zero with Mr. Zero's Terror Ride. And keeping with my New Year's resolution, I'm going to do. I think it might be good for me to do a whole few videos at one time. So, those of you that have subscribed to me, check them out. If you're watching this, you're already checking them out. So thanks anyway. Thanks for your support. If not, well, you're not watching this, so I can't talk to you anyway. Isn't that weird? I've been having like a lot of you can't really call it writer's block because I'm not writing anything down, but I've had a lot of vlogger's block. I haven't had felt like I had anything worth saying. Too many things that I could be talking about that I don't want to have to talk about. But I decided, I just went and just did a video on a music form that I used to love and then felt kind of dead with, and now, got re-energized a little bit with. Want to talk about my favorite movie, and I've often people ask you as what's your favorite kind of music, what's your favorite song, what's your favorite band, what's your favorite movie, what's your favorite style of movie, and I can go into all sorts of I tend to prefer horror, but horror comedy particularly. That's what I really like. But I've never been able to pinpoint one movie and say this is my absolute favorite. And I guess I have to name this one simply because I've probably watched this movie more than any other movie I've watched in my entire life, and this is including any Star Wars films, which there's rumor that there's going to be new ones. So that could be good or bad depending on who you are. I wouldn't shoo away any new Star Wars ideas, um, but yeah, more than I've seen Star Wars, more than I've seen Bandits, the original Hitchhiker's Guide TV series. This thing I've probably in the past year I've probably watched it about at least 10 times. At least 10 times, I would have to say. I just keep watching it and watching it, and that is Federico Fellini's Clowns. Translation: The Clowns. Oop, there's a cute little picture of clowns on it. And I always wanted to see it when I was younger. It was out of print. My mom, I think she got it off of eBay, but I'm not sure. She got a VHS copy of it, which I then let Violet borrow, telling him, you need to watch this to learn, what you can about clowning. And I never got it back from him, along with my Frumpy the Clown Volume 1 graphic novel collection. And it's a bummer in life how that happens sometimes. The things I think it was Henry Rollins who, to paraphrase him, said that anything you own will either be stolen or broken one day, so you really don't own anything. He had said it a lot better than I could have possibly said it just now, so now I sound like a real fool. But it was something to the effect that you don't own anything because everything that you have will either be stolen or broken eventually. Something along those lines. Um, and I always was hoping that this would come out on DVD. And I'd always go and search for it on Amazon. From what I understand by reading about in Salmon of a Doubt by Douglas Adams, the writer of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He talks about Amazon being innovative in that it's something that you can interact with. When you search for something, it gets put in a database as this is something that people want. And so I would always search up for The Clowns by Fellini, and it always nothing. Then finally it turns out, there it is, on Netflix. Boom, The Clowns. And I'm like, how exciting, and I'd watch it at any opportunity. but I just wanted my own copy of it, and sure enough, for a price, you can't find this in most video stores. If you can even find a video store, but you can't find this. But I got it off of Amazon, and what's great about this is it has. Here's a cool little case, and there's the back section with all that info. It has the movie. This is a painting of one of the clowns. There's I guess that's supposed to be Fellini right there. After many appearances by the circus in my previous movies, it was inevitable that I would dedicate an entire work to it. And he's talking about this film, and it comes with a little booklet in there that you can read, and I've read this quite a few times now, where he talks about making the movie, but he also talks about some of his clowning philosophies in there, like the way he sees the world because of clowns and such. And he thinks that essentially we're all clowns, and he talks about that, but he talks about there's the two types. See, in American tradition, circus tradition, you'll be told these are the types. You have the neat white face, and that's like, for lack of a better description, it would look like the Joker, and Harley Quinn. Very simple makeup, white dots. Trying to give like a very common character that people could identify, but like it's when it looks like a mime is the neat white face, and then a bit more common and easier to give you ideas is the comedy slash grotesque white face. This one's a little bit zanier than the white face, the neat white face, and an example of that: Bozo the Clown, Pennywise the Clown, Ronald McDonald. These are grotesque white face, and then you have the Auguste, which is a little bit zanier, and a little bit harder to pinpoint out. Lou Jacobs, if you know who that name, then you already know what I'm talking about if you know who Lou Jacobs is. But they're like your more common clown. The most common clown you can find out is the Auguste style. And then they also talk about character clowns, which is like any kind of clown that isn't under the other titles, and most importantly, the hobo tramp style clown, like Emmett Kelly, Otto Griebling. They'd even say Charlie Chaplin is a tramp style clown. This type of idea, hobo tramp clown. But in the European, they pretty much slice it right down the middle. There's two types of clown. There's the white clown and the Auguste. And some people will call the Auguste the red clown, the white clown and the red clown. And the different characteristics of them is somewhere down the line the neat white face became an authoritative figure, not so much funny, but more of the boss, more of a jerk, more demanding and commanding. And originally he was always pulling tricks on the Auguste, who was supposed to be less sophisticated, less intelligent, and always the butt of the joke. And when the white face became a lot more authoritative, the Auguste kind of became a little bit more savvy, and would often be able to flip the situation around on the white face. But they're the types of the Auguste in the European sense is kind of a slacker, kind of a bum, kind of a tricky guy, kind of a sneak. And the white face is very authoritative and bossy, and acts like he knows more than he really does, and always tries to assert control. And then the Auguste is always trying to usurp that control and just throw it away. And Fellini goes on to like talk about this kind of like When you're a child, you're an auguste. When you become an adult, you can still be an auguste. But when you're bossing on your child, you become a white face. But then, and he talks about this like throughout, like everything. Um, and he gives in this book just descriptions of people that he says this is a clown, this person's a clown, and this other person's a white face. And I'm trying to find it in this book here really quickly. What are you doing? You're already there's a whole bunch of philosophy in here about I thought I like this line here, so I'll just read it to you. The white clown scares children because he represents duty or repression, to use a fashionable word. Kids, on the contrary, immediately see themselves in the Augusto because he looks like a duck, a puppy, and is mistreated. It is the one who breaks the dishes, rolls on the ground, throws buckets of water on faces, basically everything kids would like to do, but it's forbidden by a variety of white clowns, like their mom, their aunt. Um, and that, I think, is very true about the Auguste. That's one of the problems that me and Violet had, is because he, more often than not, was being the white face clown, and I was the Auguste, and people liked me better, and he didn't like that. Uh, here we go. Here's the list. Yeah, I've been looking at it all the time. I'm gonna just use uh Picasso, a triumphant Augusto. In Italian, it's Augusto. Arrogant without a complex. He can do everything, and at the end, he's the one who wins against the white clown. Einstein, a dreamy Augusto. Enchanted. He never talks, but when you least expect it, he pulls out of his pocket the solution to the cunning white clown's trick. Visconti, a white clown of great authority. His pompous costume leaves us in awe. Hitler, a white clown. Mussolini, Augusto. Pacelli, a white clown, Roncalli and Augusto, Freud, a white clown, Jung and Augusto. And he talks about white clowns being fascists and Augusto's being more of the rebel. And that I really see, yeah, as a clown. My clown's definitely rebellious. Mr. Zeus tends to be a jerk and is a rebellious jerk and doesn't, you know, he's passive aggressive, I would say. Because I'm passive aggressive. I tend to be very passive aggressive. I don't know if any of this is interesting to anyone, but I gotta make my vlogs, so boom, I'm just throwing stuff out there. And he also talks about how being the Auguste is very good for the health and for your health, and being a white clown is bad for your health. And always and every time, my clown has no choice. Even though in my lifetime I've always liked more of the white face clowns. I always liked Bert over Ernie for some reason. I always liked Chip over Dale, and I always liked Moe and Larry over Curly. But then I learned to identify with Dale, with Curly, with Ernie, because I could relate to those guys. But they weren't the ones I liked. I liked Bert, and I liked Moe. I liked the authoritative ones. Now I hate authority. Ooh. But at the same, I have a love-hate relationship with authority. I always like I do need it. I need someone to argue with. But at the same time, ooh, it drives me nuts. And I'm always trying to subvert authority. In school and work, I was always passive aggressive in work. I'm a terrible employee for that. I work hard, but I'm very passive aggressive, and I'm definitely the type of person that piss me off and I'll do a half-assed job. And My sisters, if they're watching this, will attest to that too. They'll sit there and say, "Yep, that's him. Passive aggressive. Passive aggressive." And my old therapist, passive aggressive. Passive aggressive. Schizotypal with avoidant personality disorder and passive aggressive disorder in one package. I'm very passive aggressive. And very eccentric. No, not really. People tell me I am. Anyway, I'm gonna publish this, send it out to the air. Enjoy.